Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and look at the fun project that we're going to make today. It's a pop-up card, and it's a thank you card that I'm making for my sister to thank her for some really special things that she did to come down and help with my father. So on the outside, I have "Just Want to Say." Inside, I have lots of hearts, and if you look even closely, the hearts either say love you or thank you. And then I have my message at the bottom. I'm going to turn the card to the side so you can see all the dimensionality that's created with the pop-ups. Multiple pop-ups like this are not difficult, and we're going to see how easy it is to do them. There's an additional surprise that we're going to have in this card. If you look here, I've got my message written kind of small here in the bottom, and the reason I've kept it small is because I'm going to cover it. I have a sticker here. These are scratch-off stickers. Now, I have a kit on the Home Shopping Network, and I don't know if they're even still available. They might have already sold out. And I included scratch-off stickers. They are so much fun to make with your cards. I found a website. It's called easyscratchoffs.com, and we'll put a link to it. But if you look at the table, you can see lots of sizes, shapes. Here's heart shapes, and that happen to be red. Lots of colors. Look at all of the assortment that I got, and I just got what was called the sample pack. There's lots of choices that you can get on this website. These scratch-off stickers work great. I'm going to go ahead. All I have to do is peel off the sticker, and I'm going to take it and position it so that it covers my message, like so. And then when we're finished with the card, I'll show you what will happen when Diane gets it, how she's going to be able to scratch it off. But first, let's look at making the card. Well, you want to start with the pop-up element. That's the key to making this work. So what I want to do is have you start with a piece of cardstock, and my cardstock is 6 inches wide by 8.5 inches long. And the first thing you want to do is just fold it in half. This will give you the beginnings. Now, I usually just take my scissors and I start cutting the pop-up tabs, but I've marked some with pencil to make it a little easier for you to see what I'm referencing when I'm talking about these tabs. So the first place that I'm going to do along the fold line, I'm going to cut, and I'm cutting in, about an inch or an inch and a fourth, maybe an inch and an eighth. They're parallel to each other, and they're fairly wide spaced apart. You can see here, I don't know, that's maybe an inch and a quarter. You want to make 2 slits parallel to each other, cut in about the same distance, and then you fold it up. And if you've seen this before, this part is easy, and even the next part's easy. You'll be surprised at how to turn that into a multiple pop-up. You open up that fold line, poke it through to the other side, and reverse your fold, and that gives you a pop-up. That's a single pop-up. If you want to turn it into a multiple pop-up, all you need to do is go back to the folded edge, and this time I'm going to cut further, but only through the top half. If I turn this, you can see I'm not cutting through this whole thing. I'm only cutting through this top layer right here. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to cut another, I don't know, maybe half inch, quarter inch, not, 3/8, as far as you want, basically. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm folding that section up, and I'm going to open it back up, pop it out, reverse fold, push it down, and look at how you've now created this multiple pop-up area, so that when you go back with embellishments and you add something here, you can go back and add something here. You have that fun dimensionality, and you add something behind. Oh my gosh, it is just so much fun to do. In order to create more pop-ups, I'm going to continue cutting. I want this one to be longer so that when you open it up, visually, all of the elements are sticking out at different distances from the fold. So this time, it's a skinny section, and I'm cutting down maybe an inch and a half before I fold, and then open it back up, poke it through just like before, and reverse fold. So I now have something. See how this is this far from the fold, this one is this far from the fold. That will really help your eye to see the dimensionality of all the embellishments once they're attached to these tabs. Then for the final one, I'm going to do a multiple pop-up again, but this time a smaller one. that is just a little bit more shallow. So my first cuts are about maybe 3/4 of an inch, and then I'm folding. I'm going to open it up, pop it out, reverse those pop-ups, and then once again I'm going to just cut through the top section. After I cut, I'm going to turn this to you so you can really see it. So I've cut, if I turn this, you can see how I didn't cut this back section, I just cut the top, just this top section. So I'm going to then fold and open that fold up. I'm going to pop it out, just push it from the back. So I've got this fold here, and now I've got the double fold. And you know, I always, when I'm reversed, I'm folding on the same places but reversing it to a different direction. I really give it a nice sturdy crease. So now I've created a multiple pop-up on this end as well. Now it's just a question of adding the embellishments. That's when these pop-ups really come to life. So if I'll show you the one that I've got here. If I start over here on this end, I'm going to start, it's easiest to start by placing the ones in the back. That way they're not in your way as you move yours forward. So I'll start with this back heart, and I'm going to put adhesive only on the mount of the back of the heart that's going to stick to the tab. So it's just at the bottom of the heart, because this one is going to go on this little baby tab right here. And I'm going to close it so I can push. And then I'm going to take the next layer, which will be right here, and I'll place the next heart. So I'll put adhesive only enough on the back so that it will attach like so. And then for the final one, I've taken a heart, and you'll notice the hearts are just, it's a single red heart that I've cut one out of red and one out of black, and then I've written with a white pen and just snipped off the black and layered it right over the top. And in order to create more dimensionality, I could put this behind, or what I decided to do was to layer it, and I'm going to stick it out by just using a little bit of foam adhesive. So I'm going to put a little bit of foam adhesive on the tab itself. That way I can make sure that it's not going to overlap where I don't want it to. I'll peel the backing off and take the heart and go ahead and attach this now so that I have really another dimensionality. I have this tab, and then the foam that's popping this one up. This tab sticks a lot further out, and I'm going to add one of the hearts here. In fact, because this comes way up, I can add adhesive quite a ways up on my heart before I attach this to the tab. And then as I come over into this final section, once again, I'm working from the back. So I'm going to put this heart, make sure that when you close the card, you're not going to see, I'm going to have to move this over just a little because, and I apologize if you can't see it, let me turn it. I want to make sure when I close the card that nothing is sticking out the edges. It can stick out a little because my cover is a little bit bigger, but it can't stick out very much. Now I have the front still to go, so I'll add another heart there. Once again, just putting adhesive on the portion of the heart that's going to attach to the tab. And then you don't want to forget about the back of the card, because that's further away, you know, that is the fold line. So by placing one here, you have more dimensions still. Now I have one more heart because I think what I did with mine, if you look at this, you'll see that I added one with, once again, with foam adhesive in order to get a little more dimensionality here. I just took, I'll try to do this with tweezers so that you can see what I'm doing, but I'm gonna, this heart is going to overlap right about here. So I'm going to put a little bit of foam adhesive on the back, and I'll pull off the backing and then go ahead and attach this, oops, right to the tab so that it overlaps. And you can see how quickly and easily this goes together to create a really fun, really cool card. In order to create the cover, all you need to do is start with paper that's just slightly larger. So because this was 6 inches wide by 8.5 inches long, this is, I made mine about a 1/2 inch larger. All, you know, 1/2 inch, so 6.5 by 9 is the dimension of my cover. Now, you want to put adhesive, but not into the tabs. You're going to go on the edges, like so. Remember, I'm not as generous with the adhesive. I'm going to get up inside next to those tabs. I think that it works best to go ahead and fasten it 1/2 at a time. This way I can move this all around until I think that it's positioned correctly. And I have a nice side, the borders on the sides match and the bottom. And then when it looks like it's even, then I just close and press. And now I need to go back now and stick my adhesive on this section. So I'll go ahead and add my adhesive to this portion. And then once again, I just have to close and press. This should be the, I think this will be the back, so that when you look at it, now you have the card that's sitting inside, the pop-up card is sitting inside the cover, and that red shows through all of these tabs, which adds even more element of dimensionality. Now the cover is simply a question of adding, what I've done is I've taken a black piece of paper and a white pen, and I have to turn this toward me to write it, but I've just written thank you repeatedly with my white pen, and I'm going to show you something. People say, yeah, but I don't like my handwriting. I'm using this to make pattern paper, and I'm just writing the word over and over. I'm not crazy about my handwriting either. However, it's personal. The trick to this is that the pattern just looks repetitious. Here I took left-handed, and here I wrote thank you with my left hand with a white pen. Trust me, it looked really clumsy and yucky. But once you cut it into a shape and all you really see is the pattern of it, it works. So even if you're not crazy about your handwriting, really give it a try. I think you're going to like it. So then this element is attached to the top, and any excess is trimmed. I used some pink and white striped paper for the band, and then I went back and I added a couple of more hearts, what you can see on the cover here, in order to complete the card. Now, we need to get to the fun part. You do need to make sure that you start with the size of your scratch-off sticker. Pick whichever one you're going to use, and make sure that whatever you're using, you write your message small enough that it can be concealed with that sticker. So as you saw, I had thank you written there, and I covered it over. I'm going to send it in the mail. You can send it with a penny, which, you know, for the lottery, so many people always show scratching off with a penny. You can also send it with a little stick. Now, I had these little sticks that were in my kit, but the way I started was just going to a bakery or a coffee shop and getting stir sticks. When you get a drink there, that, you know, you're welcome to take one. And so you can accumulate several over the course of a week. And then with scissors, I just trimmed it off and rounded the edges. Didn't have to sand or anything, just did it all with a pair of scissors, so that I can include this or the penny in with the card, so that now all Diane has to do, and I'm going to just, I don't know how well I can do this upside down, but when I scratch off, look at how cool this is. There is my greeting underneath. Who is not going to love getting a card with a special greeting like this? I just think that makes it that much more fun. Now, this is if you want to embellish your card with hearts. In my case, because it was for a thank you card, I thought hearts were appropriate. You can do embellishments for any theme, but you can also do photos. If you'll look here I've taken the photos that happen to show first grade through 5th grade, and it's the same idea. When you look at from the side, it's once again multiple pop-ups, but instead of hearts on the pop-up tabs, I've included just color copies of photos. You know, whether you're popping up photos or hearts or other embellishments, you're going to be surprised at how easy it is to make a pop-up card or even a pop-up scrapbook.